and start today with the, well, kind of fundamentals. So how you can actually simplify your life with communication. What does communication mean? And where can you adapt little screws within your communication skills to make it easier that people will understand you better, but that you can understand people better as well, because communication goes always both ways. With a little comic, I'd like to introduce the way of communication that, well, causing misunderstandings, that there is some kind of underlying problematic situation here, as you can tell. If you have a misunderstanding, it can cost you a lot of energy. And this is why communication can help you, like a clear and a better communication can help you to avoid these. Within our workday, there were studies performed, and they figured out that it's 80% of the time, of our working time, we're actually spending on communication. And this communication is, of course, a very broad field, because that could be talking to each other, like what we usually understand on a communication. But it's as well email, it's talking on the phone, or even sitting quietly on your computer and making a face. That's a kind of communication as well. And this is what we're going to have a look at, like, why does it matter what communication is? If we don't understand what it is, we can't use it. And communication can be used as a very, very good tool to connect to people, to create rapport. Especially, and I'm focusing here on the work environment and taking some examples for leadership, because this is my center of expertise. Especially if you work with people, if you work in a team, and it doesn't matter whether you're the youngster just coming towards and just joining the team, or whether you are the leader. The better you are able to communicate, the better you can integrate yourself, understand yourself, make yourself clear, and create a better rapport. Rapport, for those who are not aware of the word, is to create a connection, like to connect, to understand each other mutually. So we're going to have a look at these three things. How can I improve without spending too much time and effort? Because we always, well, always complaining a bit about lack of time, and there's so many things going on, and then we do have our job, we have to get to the job and get from the job, and we do have family or friends, or we have our sports, our hobbies. We still want to have some time to spend on social media. We still want to have some time for ourselves, maybe reading a book, maybe watching a movie. Time is always a matter. And so as well, in this communication techniques, I will address this time issue. We will look at specific techniques during the course of the webinar series. Today, we will probably have time for one technique. It's very nice and short, talking about time, short technique. And we're going to come to that towards the end. But it will be something that should make your life easier already. Talking about time, maybe you are in a leadership role, maybe you are in a work environment where you're like together with your colleagues, with your supervisors, or maybe your parents, because many of these things apply as well, and to your kids. So if you're handling your kids with a good kind of communication pattern, it'll help you as well. And these techniques are made for everyone. So you can use them with your partner in your private life. They're not just dedicated to work environment, but I will use more of the examples in the work environment. And as a leader, or as the person you are at your job, you set the course concerning your communication style, because You set strategies, you organize, you give feedback, which is a very important part of the communication patterns. You set goals. Maybe you don't set just goals for yourself. Maybe you set goals for the entire team or together with the entire team. So in all these things, your pattern, your way of communication already mirrors on the others, and they, well, they react on your communication style. And again, coming back to the time issue, there's very often, if I talk to people and they tell me, yes, I know, I should read this book, and there's a lot of information on YouTube, and yes, there's very good seminars and workshops, but I don't have time to go there. I just don't have time to do that. But if you're very honest, just be honest. Do you really don't have the time, or don't you put priority on taking the time? And if you think about your environment, could you say that there's never ever a misunderstanding? Like, yeah, but why haven't you done that? Yeah, you didn't tell me to do that right now. Yes, of course I didn't. No, you didn't. Kind of simple misunderstandings going deeper into like really profound more misunderstandings, turning into more manifesting conflicts. And I don't know whether you've had really, well, one of these troublesome conflict situations, then you know how much time this will consume. And when you are getting into a conflict, and when you forget or ignore the point where there's still an option to talk and to solve this growing conflict with the right methodology of communication, I promise you, you will spend much more time of your precious time on solving the conflict, being annoyed, dragging this back home as well, because you can't forget about it, because it's emotional as well. And if you have like constantly misunderstandings during your workflow will be interrupted. And so my main message here is take your time, and you will see that with an even a little bit of time addressed to it, like with a focus on it, with the right communication skills, you can create little wonders, and you can create yourself a little niche time you didn't have before. And this is why I've said again, with children this works as well. But coming back to the work environment,